Hello again, friends. Welcome back to the next installment of Support Stalker Experiment, a series I put together about the City of Heroes over on the Homecoming servers, where we're taking a look at Stalkers as a supporting archetype. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at the results from my team run with Dead Cell, this Stutter-Lock Stalker, this idea of a Stalker who can help the team survive and find victory through staggering the enemy with just a bunch of little sleeps, placates, some minus endurance and recovery, throwing in some placating, just messing with their tempo and their flow. And the question is, can somebody like this, a stalker built like that, somebody who can bring this pinpoint debuff and control to the massive enemies, can they do as effective a job at supporting a team as a classic supporting archetype like a defender or controller? So we're going to be looking at the video, which I've not seen the whole thing. I've seen bits and pieces. I released it a few days ago, so hopefully you've had a chance to check that out. The raw footage. There was some hijinks and craziness happening in those set of missions there, 5 of them. And so I haven't seen it all yet, just bits and pieces. So today I'm going to take a look at it for the first time straight through. And we're going to be analyzing the data using a little pen tool and some annotations and going through the videos with a fine-tooth comb. At the same time, we're going to be taking a look at the statistics that have been compiled using Sythlin's tool, his DPS tool, as the primary analysis, collection and sorting. And then I did further in-depth analysis using Excel. I got some tables, some graphs, that kind of stuff to show you. So I'll be pausing the video here and there in order to kind of highlight some stuff and point out some of the interesting, not just goings on in the particular mission, but also what are the numbers behind what you're seeing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get that party started. All right, so here is the vid. Now, remember the rules for this particular engagement, the experiment that I'm doing, the testing. I've run 5 missions set to level 54 times 8. I run with a team of 5 players, including my character that I'm testing. The characters I invite to the team should be at least level 30. This gives them a chance to have more powers, slots, enhancements, etc. So that'll increase their survivability chances because I don't want to be running around the level 1 and just getting mopped up. Then I don't invite any other support characters beside the one that I'm testing, so you won't see any masterminds, corruptors, controllers, defenders. I'm then recording the stats using the log chats command in the game. And then those chat logs are analyzed, like I said, with Sythlin's DPS tool. And then I go ahead and crunch some numbers in Excel, etc. Also, I have minimized the use of incarnates, restricted to my character has full access to their incarnates to have the full kit for survivability tools available. The other players, they can be incarnates, but if they do have incarnate powers, I ask them not to use anything other than the alpha, and if they can, unslot their powers aside from that alpha. And everything else is fair game. We run sort of 4 normal missions, radios, papers, tip missions. And then the 5th mission, I try to do either the Safeguard or the Mayhem mission, which is the more involved, harder, kind of riskier, crazy mission. So that's what you're going to see. And then the stats, when we look at them, we'll be focusing on, 5 major stats that are running the gamut of offensive, defensive, survivable statistics, etc. And then we'll do some analyses of those to see if they mean anything. All right, so with that said, let's take a look at the squad, the team that we've assembled. You've got my Stalker, that's Dead Cell, that's him right there. And just a reminder, I am running Electric Melee, which has 3 powers with sleep side effects to them. Those are my first 3 powers. Then I've combined that with Bio Armor. Bio Armor also has a sleep in its aura. One of the auras is a sleep. And then Mew Mastery, which is going to have some minus endurance, some minus recovery, which will pair up nicely with Electric's attacks that also have minus endurance, minus recovery. And I'm also using the interface that has the minus, I think it's preemptive, minus recovery, minus endurance. I'm using Ionic Judgment, which I have the radial side, which has some minus recovery, minus endurance to it. So this whole idea of drain before the pain is one of his motifs there. All the drain and all the minus recovery to get enemies down to zero endurance as quickly as possible, but also the sleeps that we're combining here and here in bio are my other strategy with this guy. Plus, I have Placate to break the pace, the rhythm of the enemy. I've got that both as the single target power, not single target, but the little mini AoE Placate. And there's also a Placate proc that I put in my bio armor sleep aura. I've got the Fortunatus Hypnosis, so that's also going to kind of disrupt things. And then you're relying upon that writhing effect that I talked about in the build and solo videos. When you hit targets with electrical attacks, they'll kind of pulse and shake for a second as part of their animation. So we're trying to combine these little interrupts that you're getting from that animation, the sleeps, the placates. There's also some knockdown in electric with your big old lightning rod. And then I also have it in Thunderstrike as well. I really had wanted to put the Ragnarok chance for knockdown in his ball lightning attack, but I just didn't want to sacrifice that fifth bonus I was getting from that set that I chose. I think I've got artillery in there or something like that. I'll go back to my build video and check it out. So anyway, I've got some combination of knockdowns, sleeps, placates, relying upon the writhing effect, all to buy time, all to interrupt the enemy. And while they're doing all that shaking and knocking down, I'm also draining endurance and debuffing the recovery so that they can't get it back. So if we go into a long battle of attrition, after several seconds, they won't have enough endurance really to fight back. And at that point, you can start curb stomping them. As far as my own mitigation goes, you can see I've got it mapped out up here. The main things you'll see, and I want you to pay attention to, are the maximum HP, because I can get cap HP on this guy usually by clicking my rebirth. I want with the plus hit points, maximum hit points. I think that's the core side of rebirth. So that should be capped. It's like just over 2000 HP. I've got absorption, which is currently sitting at 0, but I have absorb in some of my armor stuff. I don't remember if I took preventative medicines absorb, but I have the ability to get absorb, points, hundreds of those constantly fired away. And then regen, lots of regen, keep my hit points coming back. So this is my main mitigation. It's hit points, which is kind of like, well, no kidding. But most other builds, that are tanking or scrapping it out or whatever it is, they're typically relying upon defense and or resistance. And I have decent numbers there, but not right home to mom about them. So my AoE defenses are my top numbers. That's mostly from hide. My other positional defenses are less than energy defense. Energy defense is my next highest number. I think it's energy negative defenses are my next highest. So I have type defenses are a little bit better than my other positionals. And then as far as resistance goes, really Smash Lethal, my only decent ones in the 30s. These numbers will go up or down depending on what bio adaptation I'm running. I'm currently set on offensive adaptation. And the reason I started off with offense is because I wanted to boost the sleep effect. So when you're in regular non-offensive adaptation, your aura that does the sleep has, I think, a 65% chance to proc the sleep. It's a mag 2 sleep, so it's like a quick, something that's going to sleep a minion or a lieutenant until they take some damage. But if you go to offensive mode, it boosts it up to 80%, I think it was. And the reason I wanted to see this is because in my solos, I kind of noticed I wasn't getting as much sleeping as I wanted. So I wanted to boost that up And I figured it should be safe because, hey, I'm on a team. I got other people that are going to be helping me out and with survivability. And that's because the other option is if you run defensive mode, which you'll see, spoiler, me switch to most of the rest of this fighting here, your defensive adaptation. Defense, your aura does minus damage as a defensive mechanism, so that'll help me, up here to maintain my hit points, obviously, because I'll be taking less damage. It's kind of like having resistance, so it'll lower the damage. And I forget what the raw numbers were. I think with defensive adaptation, I know with defensive adaptation, this minus damage is increased. And if I remember from my solo testing when I was talking about it in the build video as well, I'm packing about minus 30% damage with defensive adaptation running. So I was mostly relying upon that plus my just, regeneration, healing, hit point numbers up here to survive solo. But again, on a team, I was like, well, let me be more offensive, let me sleep things more, get some damage because you also get some plus to hit, you get some plus damage, you're able to contribute and not worry about the defensive stuff so much. But as the team goes, you'll see I go, ooh, I'm going to have to switch over because I end up, spoiler, at least in my opinion, I end up tanking for this team for most of it. And by that, I mean, I soak the alpha and try to grab the aggro. And the reason for that will become obvious within the first few seconds of the first mission. So that's kind of my primer for me getting started. Now, hey, what about the rest of the squad? We've got Splinter Cell, who is a scrapper, and I remember they were Spines Dark, so they've got some decent debuff. This is actually one of the other builds I'm looking at. It's something similar to this with one of my support stalker ideas for Night Creep. So I think that'll be similar to what I'm trying there. So he's got, I know Spines has some decent controls, and Dark has some controls and debuffs. So he's probably pretty good at debuffing and controlling. So he'll be similar to what I'm doing with Dead Cell, although he'll be targeting different things. So the two of us together in melee should make a good 1-2 combo with that sort of supporty concept. And then you've got Bad Motor Finger here. That is our blaster. They were fire. And so they're bringing the pain, right? They're bringing damage. I think they were triple fire. So lots of fire damage from them. Then we had two pugs. So these first two guys were from Best of Worst. That's our little cult that's going on City of Heroes, the Homecoming servers that Wednesday started several, I don't know, gosh, about a year ago now. I forget, but anyway, a long time ago. And then so our other two characters are pugs. And Duracella, who is a sentinel, is here. That's her behind me. And she was, I think, a triple electric sentinel. So she's got drain. This is actually going to be interesting. I wish I had her numbers to compare because remember, I'm also draining. So between the two of us, we're synergizing with each other to bring the enemies to 0 endurance faster. The other thing is that Electric Blast is boosted in damage output by hitting targets that have lower endurance. So the more you drain a target, the more damage your Electrical Blasts do. That's a Homecoming thing. So I'm wondering how well that helped her character out in the grand scheme of things. So Sentinels, they don't have as much damage output as your blaster, but they can survive a hit better, and they're, kind of like Blaster Light. They don't have as much AoE. They don't hit as many targets, but in combination with the draining here, she should be able to put out some decent amount of damage. Now, she was only level 40. The other two are Scrapper, Splinter Cell. He's level 50 plus vet, and so is Bad Motor Finger here, 50 plus vet. And then our last member of the team who's about to join us is, I need some room, is our Brute, Endless Might. They were also level 40. And I forget their. Oh yeah, no, they are. What is it? Street Justice and Shield. I forget what their epic set is, but the Street Justice Shield. It's kind of like Captain America sort of, I guess, style. And so both these characters, you pick them up as pugs, which is fine. I don't mind. I prefer only having a max of 3 incarnates anyway, because I don't want to have all incarnates on a team, because then it skews the data. It's just a cakewalk even with only a team of 5. So I usually try to get a couple lower level folks. As long as they're more than level 30, in my opinion, you have access to the majority of your, primary and secondary at that point. You should have some decent slotting going if you are playing the game. So when I invited these two folks, I wasn't super afraid, oh my gosh, they're going to gimp the team or whatever, they're going to get murdered. Because, hey, you're level 40, you've got your complete suite of powers at that point. You're dipping into your patrons, you've got extra slotting going on. As long as you've been putting some enhancements in your powers, you should be fine, even if it's just SOs. Now, hopefully by level 40, you're starting to build your IO collection and starting to get some set bonuses. But, doesn't matter if you have them or not. As long as you have some decent slotting going on. Now, if you're running around with no slotting, then you're just asking for trouble. So you'll see when I start the team and I see what his power set is. I think it was a guy, maybe it was a female character, I forget. I kind of start laughing because I'm like, ooh, they're gonna get their butt handed to them, just because I know shield defense require is a defensive armor set, so you need to have lots of defense. And usually you can't get lots of defense until you start getting your IOs and all the other stuff going on, which requires typically, hitting level 50. So I comment at the start when I see what they are, like, ooh, they're going to get murdered or something to that effect. And I start chuckling about it just because I'm like, ooh, this is going to be a rough. Now, again, you're level 40. You should be able to hold your own for a little bit. And as long as you don't get too silly and think you're going to alpha the entire everything and round up the entire map of stuff, you should be fine. You've got another couple of melee people with you. So we got 3 melee-ers. If we all kind of stick together, I've got some debuffy control. I know Splinter Cell's got debuffy control. We've got the pain with our 2 blasty types. We can bring lots of destruction down upon the enemy. So as long as we melees kind of stick together and hold the aggro into one lump, we should be fine. So even though I'm kind of concerned at first, I'm like, well, as long as you play smart, shouldn't be a problem. So that's kind of the setup for this squad. So let's get into what all starts happening here. All right, we got our team together. There's me and Dead Cell. Splinter Cell is one of our Bow Wow friends. For some reason, it's like the action button's not clicking. So I have to go to the right click. What do we? All right, so I want to pause here for a second because I'm just trying to see what people's power sets are. Right? Spines, dark, Mew. All right, here's some more electrical damage, so we got even more minus endurance. But the other thing you can look at when you're trying to figure out if a character or player kind of knows what they're doing, and it really doesn't matter what these are down here, but you look for like set bonuses, because this tells you they're investing in IOs, and they don't need to be God mode, min max, or IOs. If I see this, I know I've got an experienced player. I have someone who knows what they're doing. Because if you're not building with IOs in this game, my opinion is you're doing it wrong. Unless you're some Luddite, back in my day type of player, and you insist on running SOs, which is fine. You can still do okay with SOs. But if you're going to play in the modern game, you're going to be running IOs, especially on the homecoming. It's easy to get IO sets. It's easy to make money. It's easy to level up. So relying upon SOs is a stopgap measure only, in my opinion. So I'm looking down here. I can see, oh, I've got someone who knows what they're doing because they're building with IOs. I don't really care what the IOs are down here. I can just tell that. Plus, we got a vet, level 37. XP and getting level 37 vet, that's not that difficult to do these days. It just tells me, hey, it takes some commitment. This person's into their character. So I can already tell Splinter knows what they're doing. I've got confidence in their ability. Next, we got Spines Dark. We got Bad Moto. What are you, Bad Moto? You are... All right, here we go. Again, I can take a look. We've got fire, fire, mace. Oh, I thought it was going to be triple fire. We got fire, fire, mace. Somebody's building for defense. Uh-oh, we got a Fought build here, flavor of the month. Building on that defense, bad. But anyway, here's what I'm looking at. Set bonuses again. All right, we've got experienced player. We got a vet. Right, they know what they're doing. Okay, bad moto, check. Going to be able to handle their business with or without incarnates. Next, who else we got? Fire. Duracella is a sentinel, is a pug. All right, boom. We got a pug here. Just picked her up. Message, hey, when I recruit pugs, I'm like, hey, do you want to join a 54 times 8 team running light? You know, we're not having a full team, looking for challenge, looking for some fun, that kind of stuff. And some people say, no, that's too high. Some people say, sure. So Duracell is, sure, I'll give it a shot. And you can see electric blast, electric armor, electric mastery, right? So they're triple E, but no sets. So this could be, you know, red flag. Like, uh-oh. Are they inexperienced or not? Now you'll see subsequently she does okay. She holds her own. Sentinels are pretty sturdy anyway. But even if you don't have sets, you can still have generic IOs. You could still have SOs. You could still be effective, right? You got lots of powers. If you put some basic sets, or not even sets, just basic IOs or SOs in there, you can be effective. You can survive. You can contribute. Those are the things I'm looking for in a teammate. Are you effective? Can you do stuff? Are you surviving that we don't have to babysit you the whole time? And are you contributing? Are you adding something to the team? If yes, 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 awesome, let's go. If no, then maybe you should sit this out and go back to the AE farming or something. I don't know. I'm not sure how you got to level 40. But they were hanging out in Peregrine Isles. So I was like, hey, you want to join? Then our next guy is Endless Might. Electric. So you get a little concerned. All right. Endless Might is... Let's get Endless here. Keep things small for now. So I'm telling him, hey, we're going to... Telling him, hey, we're doing a small team. He's gonna... All right. Here is Endless Might. So Endless Might, about a minute later, was in Atlas Park, comes on over, and Street Justice, Shield, Energy Mastery. So, I mean, look, they've got lots of powers. You know, level 40 should be okay. I don't see any set bonuses here. So the only thing I'm concerned with this guy is, hey, we got a brute, and typically brutes are, you know, sort of your tanky alpha soak, and you're running Street Justice, so you have no heals. You've got minimal resistance, and you're relying completely on defense for the most part. And if you're not slotted and you have no sets, your defense is not that great. And if your defense isn't great, you're going to get hit. And if you get hit and you have no heals and no resist, you're going to get walloped. So that's where I was saying, ooh, I'm a little concerned for this person. But again, I'm not worried about the team. I think the team's going to handle stuff. Shield, dude, he's going to get worked. So you hear me comment. Endless Might. I don't know if people are slotted or not. Street Justice Shield, dude, he's going to get worked. Okay, right there, I'm immediately, he's going to get worked. We're taking on 54s, right? I know this is going to be a tough challenge. I've run these plenty of times. I'm taking on 54s, right? So I'm technically 51. So for me, that's a +3 minion, a +4 lieutenant, a +5 boss. If we run into any AVs, that's effectively +7 to me. Now, if you are like Duracella and you are not level 50, you're sitting here at level 49. Taking on these things. So you are 2 levels lower than me. So that means you're taking on +5 minions, +6 lieutenants, +7 bosses, or +9 AVs if we run into one. That's huge, right? You're going to have a hard time hitting. You're going to get hit. You're going to get hit hard. So you need to be playing smart. Not necessarily that you got great sets, but you need to play smart. If you play smart, you should be okay because you got three people who know what the hell they're doing holding down the fort. You just need to keep it together and contribute where you can. Survive as best you can, right? Give some effort. So that's what you need to do in order to be okay on a team like this. Don't think you're going to run the show. And spoiler, somebody thinks they're going to run the show and they are not one of the vet people. Play that beautiful bean footage. Nice, easy council. All right, so enter the mission. I'm like, nice, easy council. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to keep track of the time. It is 6:03. We entered the mission. Now, I'm going to go ahead and kind of look because I had run this mission earlier with my solos, and this is the one that I got killed on, and I stopped my solo. So I knew this is a council, obviously, and I knew there was a bunch of galaxies when I was in here, and I knew they're right up this tunnel. So I start going ahead, right? I'm a stalker. I'm just kind of taking a peek, see what's going on. Easy effing council. That's a good one, huh? Through the first hole. Second hole, still nothing. Boom, I see enemies. It is 6:15. I see enemies. 6 minutes and 15 seconds. So took a few seconds, came up here, take a peek. Now, what I've told you guys in the past in these videos, at least the Stalker series, is I told you, or maybe it was in one of my, oh yeah, I think it was in one of my threat assessment videos. I said COH 101 rule number 1 is never follow the stalker. You see what I'm doing, right? I am the stalker. I am hidden. I am effectively invisible. I'm kind of scouting. I'm seeing what's up. Nobody's going to attack me. Nobody's going to detect me, right? These guys are just hanging out up here. So this is me right here, and I'm just taking a peep. Like, hey, what's going on? Who's in here? And you'll see that I stop right here. Right? I halt my movement because I don't want to go any further. I don't want to just run in here like, I'm hoping I'm stopping here. The people are behind me and they'll see that I've stopped and hang back, right? That's what you should do. Never follow the stalker. Don't go booking past them when they stop. So as I'm like processing this in my brain, check out what happens. It's 6:15. Dead. Brute follows right behind me. It's 6:22. 7 seconds. And he is DOA. Right? He came right in behind me. It ran right past me and engaged. I don't know if he had everything ready or not, but just check this out. So here I go. See the enemy. Pause. He's in. Stomp. Dead. He did one attack and got freaking mashed. Dude. Not, hey, first second of the mission, it's not, I can see people kind of doing this kind of rushing ahead. Hey, let's go do it. But that's 54 times 8 paper mission mentality, right? They're radio mission. Let's charge in. But you are a level 40 brute who doesn't have IOs, and you're taking on plus 5, 6, 7s like I just was talking about. You're going to get mashed. You only have a defense, and you went down inside. This is the fastest I've seen somebody die in any of these tests that I've done, any of the threat assessments I've done either. So we're talking, I don't know, 60, 70 freaking videos at this point. This is by far the most vicious. I'm not going to, hey, point fingers. Hey, you're terrible. I'm just saying, hey, what are you doing? Don't follow the stalker, especially if you're under-leveled, under-slotted against this kind of a threat. All right, made a mistake. No big deal. Let's go. Dude, that's not my fault. Like, ooh, there they are. Dude, that's not my fault. Oh my God, sorry. Dude, where's my... I'm losing it. Oh, right there. Okay. And then Duracella goes down. So this is starting off real bad. So Duracell drops at 6:39. So what's that, like 15, 17 seconds later? So within like the first 30 seconds or so of contact, we've lost two of our teammates, both of our, pug under leveled people. Duracell, I think they got killed by the drain. So there's Endless. Let's follow this. Endless comes in. I start doing my build up lightning rod combo. Now my typical opening combo is those three things. I'm gonna go lightning rod. I'm gonna go my judgment ionic, and I'm gonna throw ball lightning. Of course, if I build up first, and then boom, lightning rod's gonna give me big damage and a knockdown. Ionic's gonna give me big damage. It's gonna give me a hold. And a ball lightning is going to give me DOT and additional draining. So I'm going to have drain, pain, all combining as we go. And then I can start opening up with melee stuff, going through my chain, my assassin attack, whatever, and start lighting people up. But these three attacks, if they're available, are pretty much going to erase all the minions and probably just about all the lieutenants. 1, 2, 3, done. Okay, that's pretty much my opening each time. All right, so that's what you see me doing, or what I'm about to do. Dude, that's not my fault. Okay, there's Duracella. She just threw something. Oh my God, sorry. Bad going off. Duracell just jumped past me. Dude, where's my... I'm losing. All right, I think she just got killed by the res. That's what happened to her. So not really her fault. I mean, I've died from those damn reses before too. So Duracell's down. Now here's where things that I'm sorry because I'm like laughing. All right, now here's where things get scary. Because okay, we just lost two people, but Duracella is back in action. But she's rezzing back behind me. I guess I'm not so good at. And by the way, the main thing I'm chuckling about is I'm like going, "Hey, support Stalker," and within 30 seconds, two bodies have dropped. Like that's again the worst opening I've seen ever in any of these missions, any of my 51 DEFCONs or these Stalkers. This is the second set. There's the sixth Stalker mission now. All right, so here's my concern because Duracella is trying to be a a good sport, right? And they res. But this is damn risky. Look, you got all these guys over here, and there's more over here. You're rezzing right there. You have no stealth, no cover, right? No support, right? I don't have a heal. What am I gonna do? I do have a heal right here. So I'm looking around like, where the hell is she? Because now I see her res. I thought she was maybe in the other room, but no, she's gone over here. Now she's resing. So here's the problem. You've got damage and flying over here, and you got a naked sentinel resing within sight line of enemies. So I know she's about to get shredded. This was a bad time to rest. Should have waited a second or two until we kind of clear this group, get our shit back together, and then, figure it out. But I'm sure what she's thinking is, hey, the team's going to need me, right? We just lost two of us. I got killed. There's only three people left. We're surrounded. I better get back in the fight. Hey, courage, right? Bravado, cool. But again, it's risky as hell. And you can see what's about to happen. Don't go that way. Are you kidding me? She's going the other way, wrong way. Another big res. Now she's getting shot. I start summoning my pets. I gotta get aggressive, everybody. F it. Yeah, I was not planning on playing the way I start playing. I mean, I'm getting shot from every which direction now. I'm thinking, all right, I'm going down. This is going to hell in a handbasket. Oh, gotta stop. Another freaking res heal. Let's get our shit together. Get your shit together, you guys. Transforming, resing, same nonsense the council does. Okay, okay. We got. All right, man. All right. So there you go. I mean, that's the opening fight with two guys down. I almost died. Duracell almost died twice. I'm thinking, man, this is it. This is that's why I'm laughing so much. I'm like, maybe I should just cancel this right now because this is bad. This is like terrible. But I think we start to put things together. So let's keep watching. But anyway, this is sort of a sign of things to come. If it starts this badly, is it going to get better? I don't know. Remember your training and you will survive. I tried to give him a little Starship Troopers pep talk. Oh my God, you guys, come on. All right, so at this point, I'm like, I'm gonna have to open up this alpha because our brute has no defenses. Like they're gonna get freaking shredded every single time if we don't, if I don't like at least soften up the enemy first. All right, so I gear up for the second group. I'm starting to buff up, get my, because in that first group I didn't have a chance really to get buffed up either. With my absorb shield, you can see I got my absorb now. I'm at 840 some absorb. And I switched to defensive mode. So I'm like, all right, I got to go to defensive. This is it. And he just taunted, which you guys heard that. Let's go back. Okay, so I'm like, I got to go defensive mode. So I switch my adaptation to defense. I'm freaking hitting my absorb to get, maximum everything ready to go. And I'm like, I'm just going to go in there. And you hear behind me, the taunt goes off from our brute. Now, I guess, give him a credit. He's trying. But again, you don't have the tools to deal with this stuff. And I'm not saying become a total puss. I don't think this guy is slotted at all. Look at he's getting wrecked. So I start playing like healer and tank. Dude, I gotta do all the killing here or what? More reses, more damage. I really like Street Justice. I think that could be a good combo. SJ and Shield. Oh, it's too hard, man. This is too hard. So I'm laughing because now I'm pretty much I have to tank. And I kind of like what Splinter's doing. He's watching what I'm doing, and whenever he sees me about to unload a lightning rod, he goes charging in to hit at the same time. All right, here's another example of where Endless is making a mistake. Let's back this up. So with the last fight, barely survived, right? He's got really low HP. I'm moving ahead to the next group, and I'm like, hey, hang back, maybe take a knee, take a green, something, right? You're getting obliterated. This is too hard. Too freaking crazy. All right, so in we go. Mike, let me open up again. Splinter follows. And then boom, in comes Endless. He's only at half health. Dude, you don't do that. Hang back. I'm not saying again, don't be a puss, but hang tight for a second. I think he's got shield charge. I mean, he should, right? wait till this is softened up and then shield charge in, for instance, or something, or wait till you're at full health. We don't need your saving us. I mean, I know you're looking at the team going, hey, I'm the brute and I'm supposed to get my face in there, but you're overmatched. You can't do it. Look at your teammates. Your Stalker and your Scrapper are going to be fine. I mean, we're vets. If we get our butt handed to us, well, then we just have shit builds. There's nothing you can do about it as a level 49 brute. I like the way Duracella's playing, right? They're hanging back, right? You can see they're, getting aim or whatever, ready to start unloading. Bad Motor Finger's doing, I think, the same thing. He's hanging back here somewhere. They're unloading from range, which is what I want my range people to do. Let us get in there and mix it up. Splinter and I can handle it. By the way, you can see my sleeps are kicking off on some of these guys around me. So that's one of my defensive auras that I've got here. I think it's this one right here. And because I'm on defensive mode, it's only a 60% or 65% chance. I'd wanted, like I said earlier, to do offensive mode, boost that to 80% and leverage more of that interrupting, but I had to switch to defensive mode so I can get more, healing and more resistance and that kind of stuff. That was going to be the way I'm going to have to survive this. Because at this point, my brute is a liability, right? He's taken too much damage and he's going to die if we rely upon him to be alpha. Splinter's playing more beta hitter. He's waiting for somebody to go in there first. And I don't necessarily blame him because, I don't think Dark Armor is the strongest, defensive armor set that's going to be out there that's going to save your bacon. You need to get into melee as well and start to let things lather up and start building up with your damage and your debuffing, that sort of thing. So his build is very similar to mine. We're both not made to alpha strike and be like the big tanks, but I think together we're doing pretty good. So this guy should follow our lead really at this point and say, all right, I'm gonna kind of go in there, at least heal up to max. Don't just dive in there head first and get your head kicked in, or face first and get your head kicked in. I mean, again, I admire I guess the courage, but at the same time, it's foolish. Because you're becoming a liability where people have to like babysit you. You're right. He's orange, gonna red line any second if he keeps going. If somebody reses, like right there, if somebody had res next to him, he would have been dead. All right, so he's low on HP again. Just hang back. This is the room with the glowy. I hear it. All right, Splinter's drawing aggro. He went to the left. I'm sizing up this side. I want to just destroy as much as I can over here, and then I'm going to go over there and help Splinter. Splinter can hold his own. I'm not worried about him. But you'll see that was my strategy. I'm like, all right, we got a divided enemy. All right, we have two sets of enemies. We got a group over here where Splinter is aggroing and going over. There's another group here and another one deep. So I'm like, oof. I want to clear out one of these guys. So I'm like, let me eliminate as many of these as possible. So you'll see I kind of go in with my big boomage here. Throw the ion. And if it doesn't work too well, I can always dip this way and kind of tuck around. If it does work, then I'm going to go in there and finish up. But I don't want to get too close. I'm hanging back because I don't know if I'm going to accidentally aggro these guys. So I want to see what happens. So if I aggro this stuff, then I can dive over here. I can hang around the corner. That's why I'm hanging back for a second as I do this to see what happens. Splinter kind of takes my decision away because he's heading to the left to go take that group on. So we could potentially have, 2, 3 groups at the same time here. Let's see though. Okay, ion, ball, lightning range. Okay, nothing's really coming yet. Boom, hit it, kill it, get out of there. Boo over here. So I'm breaking line of sight from that fire group in case they did get aggroed. One thing I do notice with Stalkers is you have really good aggro management. I'm not really... So many times I've been real close to enemies and not aggroed them.
I'll kill all the asses. I don't care, man.
All right, so I like this group over here. Gonna go. Jack up our max HPs. I'm capped at hit points. Boom. Boom. Defensive up. Boom. In comes the damage from Blaster Town. We're taking aggro from behind now. Boom. Boom. There they go. Yeah. That wasn't good. Let's see if we saw what happened there. Back it up. Back it up. Okay. So there's a catwalk right here, and there are enemies up here. Now, I was just telling you a little bit ago that, as a stalker, I have really good aggro management. I'm not going to aggro the stuff. So I'm going to go this way and try to get that group over here. I probably should have considered that because these guys are following behind me. They're not as aggro safe. And if any of them gets anywhere, like say in here, these guys will probably spot them. And I think that's exactly what happens. Let me see if we can follow this in the back.
Sure, man.
Okay. I'm like, I got this. There's a group to my left. I'm not worried about it. I give them extra HP. Okay, they're taking damage. Duracella already. So I'm up here. Endless is up here. Splinter's up here. Duracells must have aggroed. If you remember in the very initial fight, when she backed up and rezzed and wasn't paying attention to what's around her, it could have happened again. It could have been wasn't seeing the risk. She's taking damage. There's aggro already on her. I don't know why why is Endless being targeted? He's got to have a taunt aura, right? So it's only thing I could think, and is that because everybody else is up here, right? Splinter's up here, I'm up there, Bad Motor's up here. Endless is right next to me. And there's like incoming fire. Right, you can see it. So people are getting hit already. I don't know where Duracell is. I don't know if I can spy her. But boom, boom, they're down again. That's the two of them. And Endless could have been a combo of maybe a res plus the fighting he's taking here. If he's honestly, he probably should shut his toggle aura off if that's even possible. That's one problem with some of these powers nowadays is everything is kind of combined or a little bit here and there. It's spread out across your armor sets. So I don't know if you can just disable your aura toggle. What do you call it? Your taunt aura, because it's just going to get you too much attention in this circumstance. But he needs to play. I mean, the smart move would be to get your ass over here and face this direction, right? I'm hoping he didn't taunt or something like that. I didn't hear it, so I don't think so. But that's something he needs to keep as many bodies between him and ads as he can, because this is just his build can't handle it. Okay, now we got a second group coming in. Is Duracell right next to us? Yeah, I don't know how the hell that happened.
I guess I'll save my heal for reactive instead of proactive.
Yeah, there's some aggro, of course. Something happened. Why are you rezzing right there? Don't res yet, because if this guy freaking wakes up, he's going to kill you. If they res, you're dead. Okay, again, don't res mid-fight unless it's absolutely necessary and you have a way out of it. Like, you got a wake, a break free, green, a blue, you can pop, 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 go. And you have a means to get yourself immediately back in the fight. If you're gonna res and you're gonna sit there at low HP, especially around these galaxies that are resing with their Stygian return, whatever the hell it's called, you're just gonna get murdered again. It's very risky, and it's not like the team needed you up. I mean, we started to handle the problem. Wait till we get the aggro away from you. I'm usually pretty conscientious about that. I'll see if my teammates are down. I'll try to pull stuff away.
That's some serious freaking damage we're doing. Is that it?
See, somebody must have pulled that shit because I just don't see how that all got aggroed. If you go back, I don't know, maybe bad motor, Apocalypse, if you see this, something, I know you saw this, let me know if what you saw. Like, here's this big group, right? There's another group like that over there. Right? Okay, here's the first group that we defeat. Okay, look, stop right there. Look at this. There's a huge group of dudes here. About 10, right? I'm going to go over here and engage these guys. 10-ish. What I want you to watch is at the end of this fight, after these guys are beat, and we've already aggroed this, there's like nobody left over here. How the hell did we aggro this entire group by attacking this group over here? I don't buy it. Somebody fired something over here, I think. Or taunted, or something happened over there. I don't know. But there's just no way that all these guys over here all just came over at the same time. Because I was surprised when we were done. I'm like, oh, is that it?
I'll kill all the asses. I don't care, man.
So look, all those guys over to the left. I don't know if Duracell did something.
Dying again.
You know, maybe she threw something over there.
Oh, they're dying again.
She must have done something because there's no reason that they would have targeted her first. So somebody did something over there, drew that, or flew too close to the sun. I don't know. Just something happened. And then boom. Because as soon as we finished that group, and I'm like, oh, the aggro is clear. Now let's go and finish up the rest. And I look, and there's only like 2, 3 guys over here. Like, okay, so everybody else took off except for these. The whole back area is cleared out. There's nobody left. At least Endless took off that way to go heal. Alright, anyway, that ended that mission. So, 4 deaths in the first opening salvo. It was sick. So, how does that compare to my other Stalker I've run, Zeus, so far? I'm going to kind of pop over and show you this stat first. So, the first thing is, kind of go through this, some of the spoilerage now, but when I ran Zeus, personal defeats, he never fell the entire set of 5 missions. So, perfect performance after 77 minutes. With Dead Cell, you're going to see no defeats in his first mission, but he does end up falling a total of 3 times in a few less minutes, so 73. So he definitely was more at risk, less survivable. Now, I think it's not necessarily his build that is the story between these two, because Zeus, yes, was built as a defensive Stalker, right? He was bringing plus defense to the team. Dead Cell is bringing that more interrupt that I was talking about, and he's relying upon hit points and absorbing and stuff. But you'll see the big difference, I think, if you go back and look at these Zeus videos, or if you haven't seen them, go ahead and check them out. Is the team composition. On this team, at least in the early go here, mission 1, you just saw it, I was effectively the tank. Okay, and my Stalker's not built to tank anything. If I was building him as a tank, I would have built him completely different. He has good survivability, right? I didn't die, but you see what's happening is my teammates, a couple of them are soft. Now they're, level 40s pugs. But this team, I think we had one pug that was maybe under 50. The other four players were 50, and I think they were incarnate vet stuff. And we also had a tank who knew what the hell she was doing. That was Wednesday's dark tank, right? She was handling the aggro so that I could do my stalker thing. I don't have a tank. I am being the tank. Splinter cells chipping in, and we're throwing out damage. That's pretty much the big difference here, I think. And that's what you're going to see as we look at the defeats. But just check this out. So Zaus, if you saw that, he had a total of 3 allies got defeated. What you're going to see, spoiler, is 16 ally defeats with Dead Cell. Okay. 4 right there on that first mission. 2 were the Brute, and 2 were the Sentinel. And the Sentinel, I don't think it was. I mean, the one really wasn't her fault. She got, like, I think Rez killed on the first one. The second one, I don't know what the hell happened. But our Brute is just really soft. That first thing, he just dove in and shouldn't have. And the second one, I don't necessarily know that second death was his fault either. There was some aggro that we collected for some reason. But because we have no way to manage the aggro, all the aggro went after our Brute and murdered the guy. But if you just look at those numbers, side by side, we've got a rate of 0.03 ally defeats per minute versus 0.25. So this is 8 times more risky with this team. I'm not going to say it was Dead Cells, Yeah, hey, I was the so-called supporter on the team. But my support is all melee cluster focused, right? I need the enemy to be on me and around me. If you're off doing your own thing somewhere, you're going to get murdered. I have no way to keep you safe. That's kind of true for Zaus too, but it's even more so with Dead Cell. He needs time to get in there and have his debuffs and his controls to take effect. And pretty much all the rest of my stalkers I'm going to showcase in this experiment are going to be very similar to this. Although he's probably, I would say, probably going to be possibly the softest of the debuffing combos I have out there. I think the other one's going to be more potent at what they're going to do. We'll see. But, I mean, that's kind of my thing. So, anyway, kind of looking at that, 8 times more risky overall. I don't necessarily think it was him and his build. Zaus definitely was better at defending the team, supporting the team because of the defense factor. But we had a couple of squishies that were just getting squashed. So anyway, that's the main thing I want to kind of point out first. Just looking at those two side by side. We'll take a look at some of the defender controller numbers in a minute. But let's get back to the action. All right, so the second mission fires up. This is going to be Arachnos, and it's a tip mission. That first one was Council, and it was a radio mission.
Hopefully it gets better, man.
So I'm not super concerned at this point because this is the way all my first missions have run in every single one of these tests. The first mission's the one where the team's trying to get used to each other, figure out what everybody can do, what your strategy is going to be, reading each other's body language, that sort of stuff. I'm thinking, hey, you know what? We got this. Just, follow the leader type of thing. I'll take point. I don't care. Everybody else just chill and go along with the program. So let's see how this one works out.
First one was a warm-up.
Buff up. Get ready to go in. Watch Splinters can follow me. Boom, he's in there. Boom. Boom. Splat. Right? Just like that, right? Destroyed. So that's all we need to do right there. 1, 2, 3, and we pretty much got it locked down. So as long as we stick what right there. Endless, what are you doing? You just saw how effective that strategy worked, right? We just obliterated this group of Arachnos in seconds. Now all I'm doing is I'm assessing this room. I'm not hesitating because I'm scared. I'm assessing the room. All right, I'm looking. Okay. Gonna get buffed. And then he's already charging ahead of me. Bro, what are you doing? This room, right? You've got a group right here. One. There's also gonna be, you can see there's speech bubble. There's another group right around the corner. And you're going in solo alpha with your squishy ass. What are you doing? Right, these guys are +5 or more to you, and you're diving in their head first. You have no shields, heals, whatever going on you. Your support stalker, your debuff is back here. I haven't gone in there and gotten any sleeps, any knockdowns, any minus endurances going. Splinter Cell hasn't gone in there yet with his controls and his debuffs, and you're going in there, and I know Shield doesn't have any of those types of debuffs. So I think they have some minus damage. And I'm also asking myself right now, why aren't you using shield charge if you are going to do this? I need to go back and look at his build real quick. Let me pause the video. All right, I just double checked. He does have shield charge, right? Why aren't you using it? Open with that. That would be a better play because at least you're getting the knockdown. But look, he's just jogging in there. Freaking held or immobilized. And I have to use my heal here to make sure he doesn't die. I think I'm seeing incoming fire from above now. So we've aggroed another group. We've got people scattered in the other direction. My pet's over here attacking. All right, he's lucky that, see this group back here? If this group was closer, like up here, which they will be a lot of times, they would have aggroed. And that would have been it. Squish. So he didn't look, I don't think, just jaunted in there. He didn't even open with shield charge, and then just starts punching. Single target. What are you doing? Open up with your big boom boom, and then you can start going to town. All right, I'm sizing it up again. Give me a second. At this point, I went in a little prematurely because I was like, I don't trust this guy. He's going to go in again and get killed.
What if I can go into offensive mode now? Try to get more of the sleeps.
All right, so I try offense again because, all right, maybe the team has learned a lesson. Well,
Where's Savage Siren?
I'm talking to this dude, getting the clue. All right, let's take a look around. I hate this room.
Ugly room?
Right now, I know there's guys above, but I'm going to try to clean out as many of these guys in front of us as I can. Let's buff up. So I'm going to go and try to unload some power on these guys. He's getting worked. Try to kill as many of these as fast as I can. He's dead. Done. Again. Pow. Okay, where he's at full. Bam, I hit. Splinter's in. He's in. Taking lumps. More lumps. Remember, he's going to draw aggro as his taunt aura's on. And they're just punishing him. Right there, he's got side blasted. You know, the side bitches are in the back killing people. Okay, now my initial plan was I'm going to go in there and punish as quickly as I can. I should have dove a little bit deeper. but I hit the front side. And then maybe I should have held off on Ionic because that might have aggroed stuff above us. But now we got stuff dropping down. I don't like to be in the middle part like this. I'd rather kind of hit them, and then my plan is I'll back off a little bit. I guess I could have communicated that. But I'm like, let me get in there before I can really do anything beyond that. The rest of my crew's in there too, which, okay, it's cool. But now we're kind of surrounded. And our brute gets murdered again. Now, you know, again, if you're fighting this lower levels, if you're fighting at a lower level, maybe hang back here. Let your big hitters come up here and get some of that main aggro. This way, any of the injured stuff that's coming around or ads that might be dropping down, you can kind of intercept that. Stay near your blaster and your sentinel who can support you as well by firing at these things. Don't get out in the front again. He's out in the front again, taking hits from everybody out front and behind and above. You got to minimize your footprint here. He's soaking too much damage. Get bad motors going down, and we got aggro from way over there too. I don't know if that was the Ionic did that or what, but there seems to be extra bodies coming in, possibly. The other thing could be Galvanic Sentinel. Who knows what that thing's doing? It's just shocking stuff from above. But see all this stuff deep? Like, where did this all come from? It's like it keeps coming. So that's what I don't understand. Also, we got all this stuff coming from this side when I was expecting, okay, it should come from above, but why is it all over here as being aggroed? Like, who the fuck is aggroing that? Is that... See this? There's some damage on this guy. I don't know if it's bad it's throwing something over here, but I'm seeing aggro on these two. What's going on over there? This chick's aggroed back there. And we have no aggro management. I mean, that's just what's going on. There's just more shit. Like, why is... Okay. How in the hell is that aggroed now? Look, there's this guy, this webmaster, whatever, this crab's back here. He was here taking some damage or something. And he starts coming. Who the hell is shooting him? I feel like this is this is blasters are going nuts. Is that you, Bad Motor Finger? Are you doing this? See, look, that's aggroed back there. How? Crushed again. No. See, we're... And this is why I think I end up dying right here. Why the frick are people going so deep? What is going on? Let's rewind this, because this doesn't make any sense to me. I gotta figure this out. Because now I'm curious. Alright, so here's the opening, right? I come in and lightning rod. Now, I don't see anything over here, right? There's a group here. And I know there's one above us. And I'm going to come in here and lightning rod hit right here. And then ion judgment this group. Now, maybe there could have been some jumps from there, but jumping to who? I don't see anybody over there. But then what you see after this group starts getting cleared, I think some of the stuff above comes down. And we're starting to... You see them fighting back here. But then there's like a bunch of down this way is getting hit and taking damage. Like, how? Why? How is that all aggroed? Did Ion jump up there and they're running all the way down the hall and then jumping down the ladder, down the ramp? I don't know. It seems an awful long way for them to go. Here it comes. Okay, again, there goes the ion, right? There's nobody over here that I see. So how the hell is it jumping over there? It shouldn't be. I just saw one guy over there. But he's way over there. Okay, look. There's a couple of dudes way back here, and this guy's running for it. Those guys are still kind of hanging there.
Correct.
They're still over there doing nothing. They're all calm and cool and collected over there.
It's not good.
Bad's getting his ass handed to him. I think that was all the initial group still, those mistresses, tarantulas. Like, look at all that stuff way back there. There's another guy coming. Like, why is it all aggroed? 1, 2, 3, 4. Watch to the left. Here comes some more stuff. Alright. That was just a fire attack from Bad on that mistress under there. Again, I'm seeing like activate, like right there. Why is that shit all activating? See the Mew back there's doing. They're firing at me. Why are they shooting at me? This guy maybe ran after the Ionic. All right, now we're again. Why the fuck are you going up there? Okay, we're barely keeping it together back here, right? Bunch of people taking damage. We still haven't finished cleaning up the crap in the back. And now we're charging up here. And that's just aggroing all of these things back here. And watch what happens.
Dude, get out of there.
Dead. Now we got aggro. Now they're attacking me. Now it's like, all right, F it. Unload.
That's it.
More damage. I don't have shit for psi protection.
Oh, shit. Oh, no.
All right. I don't know. I gotta say why. I gotta ask why was there so much engagement deep? I don't know what triggered it initially. Was it the initial ion? Probably somebody scattered back there. Sure. Was it Bad Motorfinger threw a fireball back there on a runner? Maybe. I did see one fire attack on her. I don't know if that was it. Then I saw Endless going in deep to engage, I don't know, a runner or group or whatever, but you're then aggroed and triggered a bunch of crap. All that stuff way in the back group. Unnecessary. And then, so he ends up dying. And then that gets me ultimately killed. This turns into a cluster right here.
I bought it.
This is where, again, where one player, one choice, whatever, can make a huge difference on a team.
There's too much freaking incoming. Too much incoming. I need a wakey.
All right, so I'm waiting until it's clear, and then I'll wake up.
I'm getting a lot of aggro here.
Yeah, so Apocalypse, I know you watched this. I don't know from your POV what happened there.
Oh, get this guy away from me.
Somebody throw something they shouldn't have? Was it just jumps of the ion? I mean, what happened?
Dude.
I don't think the ion jumped that far, though. Maybe there were some runners in the ion, and then people attacked them, and then that aggroed the people near them. But there had to be some splash damage or something that.
Good, clean destruction.
Okay, the Ghost Splinter, checking it out. I don't know if he has stealth or not. If he took that from his dark armor.
Just too much incoming.
There's still like 2 groups back here. I didn't activate all my toggles. Just a bad decision. But again, you see how effective that it is. If I can open up with a huge hit, blaster, scrapper, sentinel behind you, it just crushes them. And let's charge in again. It's getting worked again. Have to use my heal. Still getting worked. Now he's dead.
Jesus Christ. Dude, stop dying. Does it count if he keeps dying?
I mean, seriously, that was my question at this point. You're getting yourself killed, and then you're getting a teammate killed as well. With a combination of your... I clicked the glowy, by the way, and then incoming. So your build isn't that strong in the first place. Getting worked at every opportunity.
Dude, I gotta keep helping this guy.
So now you become a liability. So it's very important you know the limitations of your build and don't try to overdo things.
Dude, turn on your armor on, whatever it is you got. Because it is.
He needs to use line of sight, breaking. Maybe stay near Splinter, who's got at least some damage aura that'll help pull some aggro off you.
Here, let me heal you. I mean, I wasn't built as a freaking healer, guys.
Oof. Oof, oof, oof. Another wave. I mean, he is trying. I'm not going to give him, points off for that. It's just my point being that you're not... If you're overmatched like that, you really need to watch your ass and take precautions so that you're not becoming a liability that the rest of the team has to cover for or risk themselves in order to keep you going. Know what you can do and can't do. Stay in your lane.
I don't know where you are, Duracella.
All right, so we've pretty much cleared this room. And then we need to go find... Okay, and again, so we're like, hey, let's figure out where this chick is. And as the rest of us are leaving this room, Endless goes up there by himself.
Where is he?
Getting his ass handed to him. Running for his life. Gotta heal him again. I'd like to see his heal numbers.
Seriously?
Let's back that up. All right, so we leave that room finally and head down the opposite direction to go find Savage Siren to save her. Here's another classic, opening, right? We got a big group in front of us. I'm going to build up, and I'm going to hit my Ablative Carapace, get the big bunch of absorb numbers, and I'm going to dive in there. You see Bad Motors going in there. He's hitting a big nuke, it looks like. He wants to get in on the party. Almost gets himself killed.
Jesus, what are you guys doing?
And this might is getting freaking worked again.
Holy shit.
Ouch. I don't know what people are doing there. I think Bad was like, hey, I want to get in on the party, right? So he goes diving in there. See him right behind me. I think hitting Inferno. But there's another group around the corner. Like gets aggroed. Incoming fire.
Jesus, what are you guys doing?
Now I'm taking all the freaking hits from these people. The Psy was tearing me up in here. Boom, that's it.
Ouch.
This was a bad mission.
Oh my god, that's too much. Oh my god, you guys. I don't know. We need a tank. It's like a legit tank. Oh, let me. It's all good.
Saul Goodman. Toggle up.
I gotta remember to like really juice up.
I got another floor to go, everybody. Wow.
Dude. This is turning into a bowl full of ugly.
Juice up. Let's heal him again. Except he ran away, it looks like.
Stop dying, bro.
Where are you going? You're not going to live back there either. Get the juicy juice. I'm not sure why he wasn't using shield charge. I don't think I've seen it yet. Shouting aggro with a little placate. All right, we did it. So this mission killed me twice. I think Endless went down 3-4 times. Splinter's probably like, all right, let me go take point. The rest of the stuff is getting ugly. Which, hey, I'm fine with. I wasn't built to make a playing point anyway. Still going. Don't die, Endless. Don't die.
Get away from her. She's gonna pop.
Dude, if she got that nuke off, he would have been toast. Get out of there, Endless. Get out of there. It's red line. Red lined.
Oh, he's got like
And down he goes again.
he's down again.
Yeah, I mean, he really needs to play on the perimeter of the fighting, because if he's right in the middle and AoE's coming and he's just getting toast.
Here, dude.
There it is. Boom.
Wow, that was brutal.
That was just disgusting.
Does it count against me if the same person keeps dying?
All right, so yeah, I want to kind of get to the answer to that question. Pop this over here. So let me go back to the stats real quick here. All right, so here are the stats for dead cells, ally defeats, the risk here. And if you look, right, in the first mission, there were 4 deaths. 2 of those are brutes. And then the second mission, there was 4 deaths, and all 4 of them were the brute. So that's 6 of the deaths right there out of the total of 16 teammate deaths. Now, I also died twice on that one. That was a brutal freaking mission. But one of those was because I was trying to save him, and there was a lot of over aggroing. It's like, I'm not going to point the finger directly at me or them, but it's just like, dude, chill out. We could have got out of there. So, I've gone down a couple times. We had 6 deaths on that mission, but out of the total deaths for the team at this point, we had 2 from me and 8 from our allies. 10, right? 6 of those are from one character. So 60% of your team's defeats are coming from one person. That to me it's not acceptable. I mean, that's just crazy. So hopefully, if you're that person, you either say, hey, you bow out next time, you know what, I'm just getting my ass kicked. I'm not doing any good. See ya. Thanks for the invite. That's cool. I respect that. Or, I don't know if there's a slotting issue, IOs, enhancements. I don't know what's going on, but that build was just tissue paper thin. It was just getting shredded. And you also have to just look at your gameplay. How are you handling yourself during these encounters? You should not be alphaing. You should not be out front. You shouldn't be in the middle of the thick of the fight. You can work the perimeters. You can break line of sight, right? You can use terrain to your advantage. Use your shield charge, your big hitter to help you. So there's things like that that you can do to at least, make an impact, not just get punched in the face repeatedly over and over again. Yeah, I'm not faulting the effort at all, but just the build was poor and the tactics were unsound. All right, so we get to the third mission, indoor mission, and a couple people are off and they're doing something. I think Endless was out bio or something like that. Splinter Cell was grabbing coffee or whatever. So I say, hey, I'm gonna go take a peek, and I'm just gonna kind of stalker around, just go see what's going on. And Splinter gets on the map and comes and joins me. So at this point, there's just 4 out of the 5 of us. And Endless is still AFK. Now, I'm not intending on engaging anything. I'd like to wait till the rest of the team, but we haven't seen or heard anything from him. And I don't remember exactly what he said, if he was going to be gone for a while or not, but he's gone. It's been a couple minutes at this point of us sort of sitting around. And so Splinter goes forward and gets spotted or quills aggro or something like that. So at that point, it's on. So the fighting starts. Now, the thing about it, and I'll kind of spoil this, is this AFK extends for several minutes. And what I want you to watch is during this several minutes, what happens? Are we getting creamed, killed, destroyed, right? We got Council again. The same faction that defeated got 4 allied defeats in the first mission. So that was 4 defeats against 5 of us. What happens with the Council against only 4 people? Are there going to be more deaths or not? I want you to watch this mission and see what happens.
Train it up. Hope so.
Again, I don't know where he is. I haven't heard anything. Splinter freaking does a little poke. Poke pull. I'm like, all right, well, whatever. We don't know where this guy is.
Save my body count.
So at this point, I decided to do a new experiment. I'm like, what's going to happen if Endless Might, who's responsible for 60% of our player defeats at this point, the majority of the whole team, if they're not on the map? Is it going to be even worse or what? So Splinter, he's kind of doing a little corner pull. Working, breaking line of sight. I'm going in there chipping in, like, okay, this is working. Bring some more bodies.
Don't make me chuck my nuke in there.
More guys are coming. Start pulling more. Look, we're just sitting here playing the pull game. Nobody dove in there. Now Splinter finally goes in. He's taking some guys on.
Splinter's gonna be taking the lead here.
I'm okay with Splinter taking point. Go for it. Let me back you up. Boom. See, that's how I wanted to play this whole series right here. Somebody else take the point. I got your back.
This will be a good test because if we start just kicking ass and our brutes are not on the board, what does that tell you?
So prior to this, I pretty much been playing as a human missile. That's been my main strategy and attack. Diving in there, hitting with my big AoEs, and I clean up what's left. Now I'm playing more strategic the way I wanted to play. Stalkery, melee, punchy. Checking out what Splinter's doing over there. He looks good. Let me go and back him up again. Throw some range crap. This guy's just standing next to me, unable to do anything. Splinter's getting out ahead of us. That guy's up back there. What the frick? See his stupid resers. Assassinate his ass. I should just killed him straight up, but nope. He's got some stupid shields are up. So I'm just trying to keep people alive because this stuff is like I got a little sleep going on that guy. Good. They're up again back here. Like how many times these guys are effing rezzing? I don't know.
This guy's the undead.
All right, this is what 2-3 groups we've cleared out so far. All right, no huge problem. Here's a big group. Let's take this out. All right, Endless just got on the map. Bad's getting worked back there. Bad makes a move, brings the trouble over to the melee types so you can take care of it. Sheds his aggro. Done. All right, we got 2 groups left in this big room here. Splinter goes forward. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, Endless is on the map but hasn't arrived on scene yet.
Did that guy just hop out of his skin?
All right, looking good.
Shark Brute is like door sitting. This is too much. I mean, this just gets crazier by the second.
I don't know if he's actually torsted or not, but he was on the map for a couple minutes at this point and hadn't showed up, so I'm figuring out he's AFK or something.
Dude, he got jacked up.
Out of endurance. Okay, Endless just gets there. All right, so at this point we've cleared, I don't know, what, like 6 groups or something like that. No problems, really. Some runners.
I don't see a machine.
So let's keep going. All right. Endless is with us. We got a new group. Everything should be fine. Everything's been going great. Endless is going in.
Dude, you really got to stop going in there. I mean, I appreciate the bravery and all, but just getting wrecked.
Okay, group is cleared. Endless is leading the way with Splinter. And Endless is dead.
Oh, I'm sorry. He just got kicked in the face. I got murdered. Oh, this is too much.
I just, what the fuck? Dude, you're the second Second group you had contact with, you're down.
No kill, no death streak.
I mean, you're back for like a minute and get worked again.
We're getting some use out of vengeance today, that's for sure, huh? Going over there?
We're endless next to me. Okay, we're all good. Splinter's over there working up some fools. This got tossed. Dead again.
Dude, he is just one-shotting your ass.
So that's his 8th death. I think he died 8 times so far. What else do you do? You have to just laugh about it.
Did he one-shot your ass? Dude, that was brutal. Brutal.
I mean, wow. All right, so he's been back. We've had 3-4 group encounters, and he's died twice. It's like you're dying every other spawn. I hope at least he got some levels out of this. Ouch. I don't know where he is.
Dude, like, you're like just going from full to nothing in seconds. I'm not giving him credit for having moxie, but he's just getting worked.
These things just go after my pet to kill it. I don't know if those things have taunt or something like a taunt aura. But my new adept just getting worked. The enemies have 5 people to choose from. It's like, I'm gonna go after this pet.
Got a machine.
And while I'm clicking, gets killed again. 3.
God. Too much.
3.
Too much.
I think that was yeah. All right, let me check this out because. All right, well, down again. You know,
There,
but
buddy.
there's another example where you're soft, right? Your character's soft. You shouldn't be going in there, especially when your stalker's not there, right? Your team's partially down a man. You're still going in there trying to lead the way. You need to wait. In this circumstance, you got to wait. I know that's not brute-like, but that's just the way it is right now. And when we attack with a concentrated force, he's okay. All right, so we kicked those guys' butts, and then we got one more group to go. I think it's the boss group. Freaking transformed.
I don't think he has any slotting. Let's see if he's got powers. Yeah. He might be like an AE noob or something.
He's got 3 AE badges.
This is just a brutal assault.
There's our girlfriend.
Here she is.
She's smoked. She almost died again.
Damn.
Boom.
Savage.
Boom. That's it. That's all she wrote. All right, so then he leaves the team. Duracell stays. And we bring on, I think this is Xenomorph joins. No, not Xenomorph. Who is this that joined us? Oh, yeah, this is another pug. Copy Avalanche. So we bring on another pug. This is a blaster. Did I ever get their specs? I don't know if I got their specs. I know they're ice blaster. I forget if I ever clicked on them to get their info or not. All right, but bring in a new body. Blaster, they're not level 50. They're a pug. We don't know them. And it's interesting how things go like night and day. All right, so back to the stats. So here we are, mission 4. And I have a no death mission. We have no team deaths. It's also our, sorry, that's the wrong one. It's also our shortest mission. Mission itself is pretty short. We have no team deaths, no personal deaths, 7 minutes, no problem, done. Right? Easy peasy cheesy. All good. Night and day. And I mean, it was an easier mission. I'll say that, but it wasn't a total cakewalk. I mean, it was a bunch of, and I'm probably not going to show much of it, but there is a bunch of freak show. So we go in here, murder a bunch of freak show, and we have to auto-complete the mission because it bugged out. So it might not even been 7 minutes. But I think one of the NPCs got killed. Duracell almost got one shot.
Damn, somebody's
Right, super easy. Just clearing through like it's no big deal. I know Splinter was pretty much soloing groups stuff. I'm going in just nuking things. You're, we got 3 ranged people now, right? So it's more up to me and Splinter than ever to just hold everything down. It's like really no big deal. There goes Splinter, a little fancy little jog, a little slow jog in the caves. Seeing some sleeps again. Notice the sleeps sometimes trigger a stun animation instead of a sleep. I think he was, oh yeah, he was Ice Blast, Earth Manipulation or Stone Manipulation, whatever they call it. Ice Earth. All right, we're just cleaning things up. No freaking problem. And at this point, we're like, all right, what do we got to do? Run around the cave trying to find something to click, but nothing's clicking, nothing's activating. So we just exit the mission and I auto complete it. Done. So at this point, it's like, hey, let's go do the Peregrine Isle safeguard. So that's where we'll pick up our action. At this point, if we look at, Zeus versus Dead Cell, Zeus was shutting out his own personal defeats. Dead Cell had 2 just against those Arachnos. A lot of it was just the side damage that was coming in and just that over aggroing that one room. It's a pretty just vicious mission overall. But at this point, they're fairly even. And I think, when our brute had left this mission here for the first half, how that was impactful. We were doing fine without him. When he came back, that was bam, 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 3 deaths right there. It's like, what the heck? And what's kind of sad is you would figure after 2 deaths, 4 deaths, you would have learned something. You wouldn't have just gotten in there and gotten wrecked again. And then when they leave, boom, we're down to 0 deaths. Now the safeguard starts, and this gets dangerous. Right? Obviously, we're going to have 5 deaths coming up here. One of those is me, but the others are. And one of those I didn't. Well, I don't think I counted. I didn't count the one because Bad Motorfinger, who was Apocalypse, said that his did count when he was fighting the AV because he clicked his mutation power or whatever and turned into the monkey and got squished. So I didn't count that one. And I didn't count one of the other deaths you're going to see right at the beginning as we're all just going to the bank. I think Duracellers or the blaster gets killed on the way to the bank. I don't know, they ran into the mall or something. I'm not counting that. It's not against. What was I supposed to do as a supporter? I'm just going to the bank and you got murdered on the street. So I didn't count that one. So there were technically a couple more deaths here. But other than that, this mission is going to go kind of rough. 5 defeats. But I think the safeguards can actually be more dangerous than Mayhem missions. Because Mayhems, you're kind of out in the streets the most of the time anyway, so you're sort of used to it. Where safeguards, the streets are very dangerous because you're not on them for most of it. You're mostly in these side missions and stuff. So all of a sudden you go outside and stuff starts coming at you. It can be pretty engaging, and the enemies coming at you are pretty tough too. Malta and Kearneys. So I think it is a little bit more dangerous than a typical Mayhem mission if you run the full safeguard. So you're going to see that where Zeus, his was a much cleaner. Obviously, look, 3 defeats versus 16. Much riskier with Dead Cell. I have to point the finger, though, a lot at our brute because he was accounting for 9 of these defeats. I mean, that was just abusive. If you had, I think, pretty much, if you had the Wednesday's tank on this squad, we wouldn't have had all these defeats. I think it would have been more comparable to what you're seeing here. Maybe a couple extra, but it was just grossly uh, under equipped to handle those missions. And then as soon as we get a blaster, who you would argue is, oh, should be even squishier, They do fine. I think he dies once or twice, but other than that, I think Duracell might buy it here. So let's go ahead and watch these missions or this mission and see what happens. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go to the bank, and you're going to see, yeah, copy gets
Copy's getting fucking wrecked. That doesn't count. That one I'm not counting.
I mean, just, they got killed in the middle of the street. There's nothing I can do about it.
I wasn't even around.
All right, so they res and then join us in the bank. And the bank's going to be interesting because it's going to be our first AV test, right? We're gonna test my Stalker against an AV. And we get Scirocco. So a good drawn out fight. So you defeat the front robber group, and then the second group comes out. Here comes Scirocco. They got the loot.
Oh shit, yeah.
And I didn't realize Scirocco was here. I didn't realize we had an AV yet. He got a quick stun. Did you see that? That was from my stuff, I think. That or my pet. Let's go back a second. All right, so I'm trying to assassinate, and he breaks me. And boom, right there. He's... So I'm trying to assassinate, but then I get the debuff from his whirlwind or whatever. And then you'll see... I don't know if it's me or the Moo add up, but somebody gets him stunned. Hit him. Yeah, right there, see? He's punch drunk. So that could have been mine or the Moo add-ups. Either this is the sleep animation, because sometimes, like I said, it animates as a stun, or the Moo has a stun. I don't know if it shows up in the stats where I probably could double check to see if it was me or somebody else. I don't think anybody else has a stun on the team. And I kind of see some punch drunk behavior swirlies around this guy too. So yeah, I think we got both of them with... So just real quick, like a second, but it kind of broke him out of his thing. He's debuffing the crap out of us. Kills my Moo. Alright, we're doing good, and he's going down. I think he EMP'd our ass. I'm trying to get some minus regen on him. Yeah, see, these guys, Duracell and them, they need to break away from his front-facing stuff. Because you see what he's doing. He's angled this way, and he's shooting stuff in this direction. And Duracell was up here, just taking the brunt of it. We don't have a tank to kind of pull the aggro towards him, but I think he's mostly focused on Splinter Cell, who's quilling the crap out of him. So our blaster needs to go this way, split off and flank him. Here's Duracell over here. So Duracell finally moves over after taking a massive just beating. Bad's taking a beating. Now this...
seconds from my heal, so you better stay alive till then.
I think Bad does the monkey shit right about here. Yeah, so like right now, Bad's fine. This guy's almost dead. Boom, there goes. I think he nuked or something.
Side missions.
All right, so yeah, that was it. I mean, we had 2 people die there, but Apocalypse said don't count his because he had clicked his mutation thing. Copy just got killed by the AV. So one of our deaths is an AV defeat. That's, fairly typical, right?
It's the
So at this point, things get hairy because now you're going outside. There's enemies all over the streets that you haven't cleared. And the Malta are super aggressive. They got really hyper perception. And I'm going to go to the Vandal location because if you defeat the Vandals, you can get the keys or get time. And then the keys are over here too. I want to do some side missions, like 3 of them. Here comes the Vandals. So I go over there to engage. We're taking on Malta and Kearney simultaneously. Those guys are coming in hot. Look at all these Malta firing from every angle. Duracell just got smoked. I mean, you just gotta weather the storm here for a minute or two until we can kind of get an area cleared. It's not easy with Malta teleporting around, hitting you with their freezy bullets. Rockets coming in, gases, burn patches. Clear a spot for Duracella. And then boom. All right, so now I got a clear spot. Duracella's up. So that was our second death. Really can't blame anybody there. Just what's going on. Now here I should have probably held off on engaging this group because there was some more Malta to the left up here. Right there, you can see them coming up on the left. So if I waited, maybe took these guys out first, what happens next probably wouldn't have happened. But I'm like, ooh, let me go. We got to get some time. Let's get in here. Bam. Hit these cardies. Splinters with me. You can see damage behind us. Copy's taking damage. Those, I believe, are Malta attacks that are hitting them. Got the key. More Malta coming. 2 people dead. Turn around like, what's going on? All right. Oh, they're getting hit from Malta from behind. So that was 2 more deaths. Okay, those I'll take responsibility because I should have hung out for a second. Cleared these idiots first. Then taking them out. Those carnies. One guy came from way back there to attack, though.
Don't know. What do you need?
Okay, so we're going to get them up. The question was, hey, if you go to the hospital here, does it kick you out? I don't think it does. It just takes you to the door there. All right, so we get them back on their feet. And we're going to go to the pawn shop or whatever it is to rescue the tellers. And I just tell people to go in. I'm going to kind of clear this one guy out just so that the other people don't get jacked up. So I'm just doing a quick kill and jump in. You don't want to be out there fighting on the street like that too much. That's when they hit you from both sides. I think these missions are also risky because a lot of people don't bother running the safeguards like this. They just clear the bank and call it a day. So if you're not used to the bedlam on the street, it can easily get you killed. All right, so the rest of this is kind of the same, right? We're going to go through, get some side missions done, kill some people, on and on and on. I don't know if anything else kind of crazy happens. I think the only other thing that'll probably be important is I do end up dying once, and it's after I think the jail. The only thing I'm just taking a bunch of side damage was my biggest Achilles heel. I took a bunch of it against the Arachnos that killed me, and these mistresses are doing a number to me too with it. See if like my health just evaporates. And that'll be your spoiler for what's going to happen outside. So we finish clearing this. Go outside, and as I was concerned about, so we got this. As soon as we go outside, guess who gets mugged? So I'm wondering if we should have finished the Malta out front before we did this. But again, I was kind of impatient. I'm like, oh, I just want to do the sides. Enduro just gets worked. Because they'll start attacking you before your animation. Actually, and Endura's like way over there. I'm not sure why. I don't know if they like ran in that direction because they were getting shot at. But they're way over there. I'm not sure why they went over there. Because I was saying, oh, we're going to do the arson. It's right outside around the corner. So maybe they thought, oh, around this corner? It's like, no, right over here. So I don't know what happened there, but Dura got worked coming outside. Again, maybe if we cleared these guys, it wouldn't have been such a big deal before we walked in there. But I didn't want to waste time. I just went, all right, let's get the side mission done. So there's the group I wanted to take out. Like, how'd you get over there? Boom. That's just such a devastating combo there. All right, now we're going to go get the key to the arson. And Kopi buys it on the way across the street here. Yeah, I think they got in a burn or something like that. Died walking through the door. Yeah, see how it can be dangerous. Like, you got to be more patient, I think, when you're running these safeguards. Clear the doors. You know, more methodical as you're going from side to side. Because that's where I think people were dying, was in the transitions between side missions. Really, the Scirocco was the only sort of regular death. The rest were just transition moving through. Alright, so you finish the arson. Stopping the arson. Carney's entering to try to stop you. You kill him at the door. Head back outside. Here's the guys that were shooting Copy. So now we're going to kill them. So yeah, had we just killed these guys on the way over, it would have saved us the problem, I think. Done. Now we're gonna go do the bank, because not the bank, the jail. You got these guys, so you're gonna go ahead and punish these alley girls. This is gonna give you another key. That's the jail key. So they go into the jail. There's a group in the front room. Again, look at these huge hits I'm taking from the side damage. Yeah, so far my allies have taken the brunt of these hits. I'm really loving these TP attacks. This is a dangerous drop from this floor to the jailhouse. Gotta take out the chicks down here. So as you're animating into the room, they're doing damage to you. It's just like copies getting worked again, just coming down the elevator. So if you're not used to these missions and not preparing yourself with some inspirations or whatever, you can get caught real fast. All right, there's more bonus time. So now we're good. And here, plenty of time. Like, oh, let's do one more, the sewer mission or whatever it is, and I will get out of here. But I also know there's a big ambush that comes, and they show up. This is the first time I think they showed up inside, if I remember. All right, everything's going great. Got one more mission, one more side mission I want to do, and we're going to call it.
Should we do the sewer?
So the carnies in the street ahead of us have the key to the sewer mission. And I'm like, telling them, hey, we got income. Look at all these efforts. Getting beefed up. Get in there and hit them. Here we go. There's going to be another group, though. Here they come. Even more are coming. And then boom, 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 boom. I'm just getting freaking pasted. I don't even know what the hell is hitting me. It's like multiple just people just going to town. I thought for a second, well, maybe the team went in the other direction. So I don't know if somebody came from behind us as well or what happened, but it was just like a slaughter.
That was just like disgusting.
Comes some more illusionists. Getting huge hits. Every time I get hit by one, it's like 500 some damage. So that was my death on this map. We kill the key holders and then head over this way, but there's an ambush coming already. And you gotta watch out for this mission because the door is one of those ones. It's only like one at a time doors. So you gotta wait till it closes before you can click it. I'm trying to hold off a little bit here. And I jump in. All right, the rest of the team starts to come in too. I mean, other than that, this mission's pretty benign. You just go through the sewer to a little cave area. There's some glowies you got to get. And then you pop up into the office building the other side here. Nothing crazy. One thing is my pets really didn't seem to do much. It's hard to put a value on like the intangible pet there, the one that was using the enervating field, whatever it was called.
This will be the last side mission we're gonna do.
It does do some buffing, debuffing, but the other two, they were either getting killed really fast or I don't know what exactly they were accomplishing. Okay, we got another incoming group.
Incoming.
I get hit right before I finish clicking.
They interrupted me.
Again, you saw the sleep click. Now watch this chick right in front of me.
They interrupted me.
Right there. She gets the die effect. That was from the aura. So that's what it looks like when that sleep triggers on your aura. It looks like a stun. Because I didn't punch her. She just got near me and I was like, doing.
I don't know where you are.
Dura's getting worked. All right, so boom, kill.
Damn, bodies are dropping.
Dura dies there from something. I don't even know what happened. Finish this, kill them,
I think we did it.
level up, done. All right, so let's kind of wrap up this analysis. So you saw the videos, gave you my feedback or my thoughts on what's happening. Kind of going through the rest of the stats here quick. Just the Stalker versus Stalker stuff. One of the things that Sythlin's tool lets you do is look at the number of hits really easily. So how many times your character gets hit. I wanted to take a look at this one now that I have this data because Zaus, because previous to this, I was looking to see how much damage I took, right? So damage could be you got hit, you got resistance, you don't get hit, who knows? With this, it kind of lets you put those two stats together. So this is showing you how many times your character was hit with an instance of damage. So it could be a DOT, could be a proc, whatever. So if you take a look, Zeus, who's built around the plus defensive side of things with shield and the minus to hit with his dark melee, and Dead Cell, who's built around sleeps and minus endurance, kind of just breaking the rhythm of things, and has some plus hit points that he's going with an absorb. As far as hits go, I'm expecting, right, this guy is going to get hit a lot less. But check this out. I mean, that is huge discrepancy or difference between the two. Tons of hits that I was taking. But I will say, when I looked at the data, this is questionable, like 800 something, 800 something, there was a lot of hits from ball lightning. Like it was saying I got hit, like half of these hits were from the ball lightning attack, which is, DOT. But was I hit that many times? I'm questioning those numbers. But even as half of that, it's still a huge amount of hits I was taking. And you can see that in the side-by-side graph here. On average, this is the rate, number of hits per minute. So Zeus is getting hit 7 times a minute or so. Dead's getting hit like 28 times a minute. That's huge. That's every couple seconds you're taking a hit from whatever source. So again, I think that might be misleading because the ball lightnings, made them. I know the Mew were throwing ball lightnings, and then there was some of the Freak Show had some ball lightning. A Safeguard though, when was ball lightning being thrown here? So I don't know about these numbers. I'm not sure. Those could be ticks of burn patch. Could be the other thing. So I don't know. It's hard to say. Or it could be hits from things that don't necessarily do damage. I don't know if it's damage inducing hits or hits, minus endurance hits, whatever. You get hit a lot. And then you look at the spread of the data. The reason I want to look at this is because it's easy to look at the raw numbers, just go, oh, well, you got hit a whole bunch more, it was significant difference. But the composite is showing you the spread of the data. So what's interesting here is there were, a quarter or more, half of the missions where Dead was only being hit as much as Zeus was getting hit. There is overlap down here in this upper end. So Zeus's worst missions were equal to Dead's safest missions, if you want to look at it that way. There was some data, of course, that was pushing those numbers up. Those couple missions where it's 800 plus hits, the ones that I'm questioning, that's really skewing the data upward, I think. So I'm not sure how real that data is. Then we have resilience. This is your just classic how much damage you're taking incoming. Again, we've got defensive, not getting hit type of build versus taking the hits but mitigating them through interruptions, through regeneration hit points. I'm not surprised I'm taking more hits. I'm not surprised I'm taking more damage with Dead Cell. The numbers here are pretty big though. 70 some thousand versus 19,000. That's a pretty big difference between these two characters, right? Then we've got disruptions, another one I want to look at for the first time. This is a new stat I'm able to look at because I have Sythlin's tool, and this is the number of controls that you're able to throw out. So what I did is I took a sum of everything: sleeps, holds, immobilizes, fear, doesn't matter. How many controls did that character put out? In other words, their disruption level. And Zeus, who wasn't built as a big controller, he does have fears and he did have immobilizes and he does have some knockdowns, versus Dead Cell, who was built more around the idea of controls with all the sleeping. It's almost a 2-to-1 ratio here. So the question is, hey, is that a significant difference or not when we look at the rate of 17 versus 7.9? And that's what this graph can show. So you can see clearly that Dead Cell was the more disruptive of the two Stalkers. And that's, again, built. So when I looked at Zeus, he's built to not get hit. Plus defense, minus to hit. So it made sense that his hits and his hits and his damage, I can't freaking spell, his damage in were lower than what you saw with Dead Cell. But Dead Cell, he's built to disrupt, to sleep, to knock down, to drain, that kind of stuff. And so I see that here. All right, he's got more sleeps, a bunch of sleeps he was hitting. He's got more knocks, even though he wasn't built to do that. He does have more knockdown ability. These were his two big things, and it was clearly an asset on his build. And you look at the composites, was this just a fluke of a couple of missions? And clearly not. I mean, overall, Zeus was very consistent in his amount of disruption, where Dead was consistently much better. There was a couple missions where he was, way up there, but overall, just built to do what I want him to do. He was taking hits, absorbing them, healing them, and he was disrupting. And I did a couple other things. Just wanted to see if this had any effect on anything. So I did what's called a disruption quotient. And what I want to know is the controls that you're doing versus the incoming damage. Is there any relationship? Is there any correlation between those two? So I plotted that as XY scatter. So I got my controls down here, got my incoming damage here. So the idea being that, hey, if you're controlling more, are you taking less damage? And here's the thing. Oddly, no, it's the opposite. As controls went up, damage went up. And this is provable, if you will, because there is a very strong correlation. Remember, the R squared is your correlation value. And the closer you get to 1, that's saying there's 100% yes relationship between these two variables, between the X and Y variables. So as controls went up, we can unequivocally say that Dead Cell did take more damage, 97% correlation. Now the question is, well, what the hell is that all about? I thought if you did more control, shouldn't you take less damage? And I was thinking that way too, but now in hindsight, as I think about it, I think that's actually, this does make sense because my controls are in melee, and melee is where I'm going to be taking the most damage, right? I'm in melee range getting hit. And most of my controls are actually sleepy things or the knocks, which require me to bam, get up in their face. So they're only temporary little blips, these little stutters. So I'm thinking that, yeah, the reason I'm taking more damage because I'm doing more controls, because control means melee, greater risk. So I think it kind of goes hand in hand. Whereas Zeus, he was close to correlation. He was almost, what I'm looking for is 0.9 or higher for correlation. He's very close. So same idea with him. The more controlling he did, the more damage he was taking. Because again, he would have been in proximity to melee near the enemies where he's taking more damage. That just makes sense. And then I also looked at what I'm calling the disruption factor. Did the amount of controls I was dealing have an impact on how many allies I had defeated? So this, again, I was thinking, as my controls go up, I would love to see my ally numbers of defeats go down. But again, so I'm expecting this. But instead I saw that things were going up. So the more control I was doing, the more my allies were defeated. Now, does that mean it's the same thing? No, but there is a correlation. But hey, why is there a correlation? I thought if you're controlling, shouldn't your allies be safer? Maybe, but also control means I have more targets. More targets means, more enemies. More enemies means more damage. More damage means more threat to my allies. So the control was not predictive of ally safety. It was actually predictive of ally danger, which is bizarre. But also, this is sort of a potentially misleading stat because you guys saw the source of the ally defeats. The majority of them were from my brute friend there. It was, I think, a total of 60% at the end of the day. 60%, I think, of ally defeats were all one person who was only there for not even 3 missions. So this could be a very misleading stat. It'd have to carry out, because if you look at Zeus's numbers, there is no correlation. It's a 50-50, coin toss. So I think this could be just a artifact of that one character's this bad build or just poor tactics. But I don't know. I need to have more data to figure that out. And then synergy. Another thing I wanted to see, is there any synergy between my number of controls and how much damage I'm doing? So if I'm controlling more, am I damaging more? And that is a true statement. So as my control number went up, so do my damage. And again, I think it's the same story because I'm in melee to do the controls. And if I'm in melee, that's where my damage is coming from. My punches and things are also able to connect. I don't have a lot of range stuff, so it makes sense that the more control, the more melee, the more damage I'm putting out. That is not true of Zeus, though. So, interesting information, I think. Dead Cell's definitely putting out a lot of controls. And then the other thing I wanted to see is similar question to that, not just damage output. Did my control amplify the number of defeats I was able to, or kills? You know, how many enemies I was able to take down? Is there any correlation? And again, yes. The more controls I was putting out, the more enemies I was defeating, which goes hand in hand with the idea of more damage. So again, more control, more melee, more damage, more enemy defeats, more incoming damage, the whole thing. The only thing that has me scratch my head is it doesn't seem to be protecting anybody. So is that just because the brute was taking such a solid beating? I don't know. That's my current hypothesis, though. All right, then we're going to go on to lethality. This is just those faux defeats. Very similar numbers between the two Stalkers, 283, 261. The DPMs were identical. Or not DPMs, but the kills per minute. Same exact number. Statistical tie. They were as deadly as one another. The threat numbers were leaning towards Zeus, 412 versus 336. But I had some defeats, so that took me out of dealing damage a couple times. I also had to play more defensive, trying to keep people alive rather than just unloading on people. The rates, though, were pretty much the same thing. There's not going to be any statistical difference between those two numbers on those two. Then the other interesting thing, this is the one that has me maybe most concerned at this point, is take a look at the pet information right now. I've got Zeus and Dead Cell. I have two different stalkers, both with patron pets. And this is the percent of the total damage that's coming from the pets for both of them. And if you look at the numbers versus the characters' numbers, it's pretty much about a 5 to 95%, roughly 6%, somewhere around there. So these pets on Stalkers are only chipping in 5% of your total damage. Compare that to when I did my DEFCON series. When I did the DEFCON series, defenders were getting about 30% of their damage, and controllers were getting about 50% of their damage from their pets. Now, I know that the controller's pet from its primary is out all the time, so that can help explain this. But why is a defender who has lore pets and patron pets versus a stalker who has the same access, lore pets and patron pets, why is it such a huge difference? You're getting a sixth of the damage output. I mean, part of it is you're more conservative as a stalker using your pets because you don't want them disrupting your whole sneaking around thing, but that doesn't explain the whole thing. So my current thinking on it is that we're talking the buff, debuff side, primarily the buff. Defenders have the ability to buff their pets, heal them, shield them, or debuff the enemies hard enough that they're doing much less damage. Where the Stalker has pretty much no buff whatsoever, no heals. I mean, Zeus had a little bit of buff just from the defense. They've got debuff, yes, but their debuff is melee focused. So if there is a pet and your pet is at range and you're standing in melee with your debuff, this pet is essentially naked. Whereas a defender's buffs and debuffs, they can put the buffs directly on the pets. Their debuffs are more battlefield wide. I think that's the explanation. I think this is showing you that the supporting of these two archetypes is applicable to the ranged area, to the whole battlefield, where your stalkers were a focused control and debuff. Again, that's early right now, but that's my current hypothesis. But I'm telling you, if it holds true that a stalker's only getting 5 to 6% damage from a pet, then honestly, I don't think it's worth putting a pet in your build. I think I could get another power and get 5 or 6% damage out of that. I think. So that's something to test. And as an example, in Dead Cell, I didn't take his single target hold from his Mew Mastery. I could take that power and I'm betting proc it up a little bit because I've got, I think, 5 slots in my Mew add up pet. I could take those, throw it in that single target hold, and throw in a couple damage procs and get a bunch of damage out of that. That would be as equivalent. Now, I don't mind if the pet doesn't do a ton of damage as long as they do debuffing and control. And it's hard to weigh that. I don't know if the Mu Adept was doing a lot. I mean, he's a very controlling pet, but it's hard to say because he was then dying pretty quickly. So how much control did he get out before he was gone? I don't know. How much debuffing did my Night Widow do for Zaus? It's hard to say. I don't know. Then we go to one of our last categories here, efficiency. This is just the out versus in damage that your character's able to do. And you can see that the ratios for Zaus, on average are probably 20-ish to 1. Dead Cell is much lower. He's only getting maybe 6%-ish. So a quarter of the out to in. The output wasn't the problem, I think. Overall, the outputs were pretty close. It's the input damage was the big issue. Zaus was not getting hit very much. Whereas Dead Cell, he was getting hit a bunch. You saw that. I mean, part of that's because the way his build is. He's not very defensive. He's not very resisting. He has lots of hit points that absorb and regen, so he doesn't mind taking input damage. But the other problem is that I think just the team composition. The team with Zaus, we had a tank that was effective at doing the job. Wednesday's tank was doing great. We had a brute on this team that was not doing the job, was failing at doing the job of tanking or brooding or whatever you want to call. And so it was causing more damage to come in than was, likely had we swapped these two around. That would be an interesting experiment if we could do that. Swap these two around. I wonder if you'd see us flipping of these numbers. Possibly. Probably. I don't know. It's interesting though. All right, so that is the main Stalker versus Stalker questions I have. And then the last thing I want to talk about before we wrap up this video, which is going on a marathon length, is I have the data this time from one of my teammates. So I want to take a peek at this with you guys to showcase this. This is my Stalker Dead Cell and the Blaster Bad Motor Finger that was played by Apocalypse. And this is going to show you two players on the same exact team at the same exact time under the same exact circumstances. Is there anything to glean from this? Because these ones up here, Zaus was on a different team, Dead Cell's different team, so there's a lot of variables. But here we have the same exact scenario. What do we see here between these two? And so here's the interesting thing is that Bad Moto did not die at all, whereas Dead Cell had those 3 deaths. So his safety was perfect, right? Now, was that because of Dead Cell? Maybe part of it. But Bad Motor, he was playing at range. He was our fire blaster. Where Dead Cell, he was in melee, and so I was built to take hits. He was probably built for doing damage at range and staying out of the fight. So I think it's a matter of how the build was done, not necessarily, hey, Dead prevented Bad from taking a bunch of damage. I don't know, but it is interesting that hey, I took 3, he took none. Although, again, he did technically take 1 during the safeguard. That was when he activated his, what do you call it, mutation power there, secondary mutation, and it turned him into the Rickety monkey that got squished. So there's that. There's your graph of it. Obviously, very clear. Then we take a look at allied defeats, same exact team. And here's another interesting stat because Bad was actually badder at protecting the team because not only did he have to deal with all the same brute deaths that I did, he also had to deal with my deaths. So he ended up getting 3 additional total defeats in his column that I didn't because they were my own defeats. So his risk for the team was a little bit higher than what mine was. So translation, if you were on Bad's team, your risk of dying is higher. Now, statistically speaking, we can't say that's true because the error bars are overlapping on these two graphs. So they're essentially statistically identical. Their risk is the same. I'd have to have died like 6 more times for it to have been a big difference. Then our next stat is that avoidance stat. This new stat, we're looking at the hits. And here you can see clearly the difference in the builds between the two. I mean, he was only hit 229 times. I was hit about almost 10 times that many, 2,169 times. But again, a lot of this, if you look at the data from these couple missions, there was this ball lightning that I was being hit by a whole bunch. I don't know if it was actually ball lightning or not, but it could have been burn patches, static field procking, whatever it was, venom patches. I don't know. That I was standing in melee, and that's where that fire was going, where he was at range and avoiding a lot of those secondary ticks of DOT. So I'm looking at this and I'm not going, oh my God, this is terrible. It's just the way I would had to play my Stalker and the way he's built. He's built to be in a melee and he's going to take some hits, and that's the way it is. So I'm not concerned about this, but it's super fascinating that someone on the same exact team is hardly getting scratched. I would love to see Splinter Cell's data, who was the scrapper on the team. Did he take nearly as many hits as I did? Avoidance rate, there's the side by side comparison. Clearly a big difference between Bad Motor Finger and not Zaus, but Dead Cell. Avoidance composite, this is the range. So when I look at the range of the data, it's one mission or so where you're coming close to what Bad was doing all the time. It's probably that fourth mission where it's hardly taking, everybody's taking pretty much nothing, but I don't know. Then we look at resilience. This is your total damage incoming. I would expect to be a very similar story to the hits, the avoidance. It's a little bit different though. It's not as dramatic, right? We have 44,000 versus 75. So it's not like 20 to 1. It's just a 2 to 1 margin between these two. You've got your rates, and hey, is that statistically significant? And the answer is yeah, it is. Bad was statistically taking less damage than Dead was per minute. So more resilience here. Again, play style, builds are going to be different. He's at range, probably more defensively built. I don't know what his build is, but I'm guessing that's true. I'm built to be in melee, taking hits, taking damage, and I'm just going to heal him, regenerate him, absorb him. No big thing. Composites, same kind of story. So this is another interesting one because we look at the overlaps, and about half of the missions, half of the incoming damage is equivalent to each other. So, Dead's best, lowest incoming damage are equal to Bad's worst incoming damage missions, about half of them or so. Disruption, this is the controls. I mean, this is really not even close. Bad, I don't think he's built to control. I think he's got some control knockdowns in like his burn or his what does he have, hot feet or whatever it is. So he's got some knockdowns, but not even close, right? 54 versus 1183. I'm doing 17.4 instances of control per minute. He's got one. Disruption composite, again, not even close. Minor way up here. There's no overlap at all. Lethality, this is foe defeats. This is, I think, interesting because people, if you go, oh, stalkers, they're damage dealers, right? Damage. Check this out. He defeated 200 more enemies than I did. His defeat per minute was 3 more per minute than what Dead Cell was doing. But again, he's built as a damage, right? He's a fire blaster. That's what they do. They deal damage. So he's unloading hellfire and fury on people. I'm in the mix, sleeping, debuffing damage, debuffing endurance, debuffing recovery, knocking stuff down. He's just unleashing hell from the back row. Okay, the rates, they are statistically significant difference between the two. The composites, you can see that even on Bad's lowest outcome enemy defeats, that matches. I'd have to do my best with Dead Cell just to be close to his worst. Then let's take a look at threat. This is the damage output. It's going to be the same story. You've got lots of outgoing damage. 517 and some change versus 336 and some change. The rates are 7,000 and some change versus 5,000. Hey, is that statistically significant? Probably. Yeah, looking at the graph, it is. So he's doing more damage per minute than Dead was. It's clear on the graph that that's true. The other thing I threw on this graph is the efficiency, or the table I put on the efficiency. So his efficiency, this is the out versus incoming damage, 11.8 to 4.5. So a lot more damage out than what I'm doing. But hey, you're talking Blaster versus Stalker. And Stalkers are mostly single target damage. But it would also be interesting, again, to see Splinter Cell. How did he compare to Splinter Cell, who had quills thrown out all the time? Was the damage discrepancy as big? I mean, Blasters were definitely doing the damage, at least Bad Motor Fingers build. The threat composite showing you the spread. Almost every single mission, he was out damaging me, except for my most damaging output. And then the pet contribution, here's another no comparison because Bad Motorfinger doesn't have any pets, at least that I'm aware of. He didn't use his lore pets. I don't know how damaging they do. But this is my Mew Adept and my lore pet. Right, they're doing... But here's the sad thing, right? Like 6,000, 7,000, right? This is a few thousand, 4, 11, 17, maybe 20K. Was 20K worth it? You know, I don't know. If he had his own lore pets out, he probably would have gotten at least 10,000, if not more, out of that. So that's a sad thing about this pets, at least on these first couple Stalkers, is they're really not a factor damage-wise. I don't know. My big question is, are the pets a factor control and debuff-wise? If so, then it's worth keeping them. If not, then ditch them. You know, I don't know. And then I'm not going to get into this last thing, which is the big question. Stalkers versus the DEFCONs versus the Defenders controllers. I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole nother conversation. I want to kind of save that for when I have even more Stalker data. So let's what do you say we wrap it with that conversation? We've got ourselves our big boy here. Dead Cell as a supporter. So I think he definitely was throwing out a bunch of controls for sure. He definitely was tanking for what it was worth, given the amount of incoming he was taking and the fact that he really didn't have any brute or tank to support. I had Splinter Cell with Scrapper. The fact that he only died 3 times, I think, is a miracle. So overall, I think the build was very effective, but effective versus Defenders controllers, that remains to be seen. That's where don't want to spoil anything yet. And we'll also have to kind of factor in some of that control stuff now that I have that data. But anyway, there you go, ladies and gents. That is the end of this little ride, this little crazy romp through those 5 missions. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you got some cool info there and learned some things about not shoving your face in there against +5s when you were under-equipped. We'll catch you in the next video. Take care. Peace out.